Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be an orbital tutorial. So basically, start off with picking whatever you want here in a command pod that we're going to use. We're going to use this one. At least that's what I'm going to use. And you're going to want to make it survivable. So we're going to want a parachute and we're going to want a heat shield here. Now we're going to want to find a way to separate this off. So we're going to use a decoupler here. So this pod is something completely its own stage and separate, and then I'm going to fix the staging over here. So both of these are going to be deployed at the same time. Now from this point, we're going to want to add in, if you're planning on returning home, enough fuel to return home. For what we're doing, just orbit. This tank will suffice, along with a smaller engine on there, and I am good to go. So next step we're going to do is we're going to add another decoupler. Next stage we're going to do is our stage that takes us to orbit. So basically, once you've made everything you need here that you're wanting for your mission, the main point of this video is about getting to orbit. So this bottom stage has to equal this in total fuel. So 3,400 meters per second, or delta V, is what you're going to need in order for you to actually get to orbit. Now before you start building this, it's always good to check your engineer report. Make sure there's no warnings flagged here that you need to take care of. So we're going to go ahead and start this. So I'm going to add this fuel tank, and then I'm going to add another one, along with a swivel engine, so I have more control over this rocket. Expand this out to see that I have 2,700 meters per second in this. So to get the rest of it, because I don't want this rocket to be much longer, I'm going to add some small boosters. I'm going to use these really tiny ones here. These guys. Alright, and then I'm going to add some aerodynamics to it, so this actually flies correctly. Now what we're going to look at, this is still a little lower than what we need. Let's see, how about let's add another smaller tank here. Let's see where this puts us here. I think that might... No, it's still going to be a little too low here. And then we're actually going to add more fuel tanks on this. So we're going to add a larger one here. Now we're where we need to be. There we go. So this totals up to more than 3,400. So this is what we got. Our bottom stage, you can organize this however you want. You just want these to total up. Our staging all looks good. Everything looks good. So we're going to go ahead and move on to flying. You can pause the video, finish working on your rocket build and how you want it to look. Make sure that all these parameters here are the same. Main thing you want is you want fuel to come home enough. That's plenty. You only need 1,500, and then you want at least 3,400 in this bottom stage, and make sure your engineer report shows nothing of concern. If that's all set and ready to go, then you can go ahead and hit this launch button. Alright, so for flying this, you're going to want to fly at a trajectory in order to get to orbit in the most efficient way, because the amount of fuel we have in here is the minimum requirement. So if you don't fly in a efficient manner and you're just going to shoot straight up and then shoot sideways to orbit, you're going to need way more fuel than what we even put in this rocket. You're not going to have enough. So you're going to need to go at a trajectory, which is going to be a gravity turn, and we're going to aim for this 45-degree mark by the time we get to this middle part of the atmosphere. So we're going to shoot up first, and then we're going to start slowly turning our way over. First thing to start off, we're going to make sure that this is all the way up and that nothing seems concerning before we take off, and everything looks well okay. So we're going to go ahead and hit that go button, and we're going to get going. And we're off. I'm going to do my gravity turn after these boosters run out. Looks like they're about to eject. Alright, we got optimal enough height, so I'm going to start slowly turning this rocket over to the 45-degree mark on this nav ball. I want to get to that mark by the time we're in that upper stage here. Alright. Now what we're trying to do is actually get this prograde there. Now, then we're going to set to prograde, so this is going to automatically gravity roll as we go. And then we're going to adjust our thrust here to make sure that this T-minus 34-second mark, this number stays below 1 minute. And we're also going to watch our apogee to make sure this is hitting at least 70,000 meters. And that's the main important things you want to watch as we're doing this, along with the fuel, which we should have plenty. So I'm going to cut back a little bit. Now what we're doing is actually making this a flat circularized curve. That's what we're going for, is why we're doing this trajectory burn. We're going to continue doing this until we reach our desired length. Now see if I have a nice fuel level set here that this isn't even changing, and that's perfect. That means you're burning just right. Now you'll see why I did this, because look how much we actually have to burn off. Only negative 23,000 meters of height and then gain 70. So you're not, this fuel here is going to be plenty. And that's the reason why we do it like this. It just makes it more efficient and a lot easier to get into orbit with anything, doing it this way. Alright, so now that we're close, we're going to watch this right here. When this hits 0, we're going to fire these engines up, and we're going to want to make sure these numbers are as close to the same as possible. Let's go ahead and take a look. Ready? And fire. Then we're going to just give a little bit here. So that's close. We're going to get it, and that is perfect. Now all we have to do now is eject off that stage, so that we're left with our main state that you designed, that you want it for orbit. And mine's real basic and real simple here. Now, when returning home, it's real simple. I like to use the darker side here, because I like to come in on the light side, because you're going to have to burn in the trajectory to go in. You don't want to be too shallow, you'll bounce off. You don't want to be too steep, because it'll be a little difficult. So, to come back in, you're going to want to switch over to retrograde, or you can use the manual controls and move right over to this retrograde node on the nav ball. And all you're going to want to do is fire up those engines you had, just like this, and burn this guy in. And we're going to go about there, and that's all we need. Now once you're done there, bringing your rocket in, all you have to do is decouple off your last stage and arm your parachute, and then just time warp on your way through, just like this. Now the cool thing is, if your craft is actually well made and balanced, you can actually just turn SAS off, and this thing should just stay upright this entire time on its way in. And really all you can do is just time warp through it until you land. And that's what we're gonna do here. So enjoy the final part of this show here, and once you hit the ground, you've successfully went to orbit and returned home, so congratulations. With all that said, I'd like to just say thank you for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to stick around and watch this guy come on in for a landing. And thank you for watching.